a lot of times when people come in and want a big chop, it can be pretty intimidating because you don't have anything to follow from the previous haircut, and it's a completely new look that you don't want to mess up. But today we're chopping my man's curls off, so we're pulling up the hair and we're just getting rid of the excess. He wants really short curls, so I'm not being strategic when I'm doing this initial chop. I'm really just trying to get it down so that way we have less hair to work with. As you can see, I'm pulling and I'm cutting about half of it away, and then after that we'll get into the actual trim where we cut it down to the desired length. So as you can see, we're just chopping it down, pulling each curl. I was grabbing a bunch at a time, but then I didn't want to risk the chance of cutting it too short, because again, we just want to get rid of all the excess that we know for sure is going to be cut. And now what we're going to do is pick all of his hair out, and it should be a lot easier to pick his hair out because the ends of his hair, that would have been tangled or curled up, are cut off. So the pick should just fly right through the hair. And the goal here is just get it all elevated off of the scalp, and then we're going to dampen it up to get ready for our scissor work. So you want to make sure that the hair is pretty saturated because that makes it the easiest when grabbing sections. So now we're going to start in the front, and we're going to be taking off about an inch moving back. So I started in the front, and I'm going to work my way towards the back of his head, coming down the middle, and this will be our guideline or reference point when trimming the rest. Now when trimming curly hair, it's a lot more forgiving because unlike straight hair, when it lays down you can see a lot of unevenness if it's not cut well. But with curly hair, as long as it's not drastically different in length, a lot of times you can hide mistakes in the curls. So I know for me, when I first started using the scissors, I liked trimming curly hair a lot better than straight hair, just because it wouldn't show all the mistakes that I know was there. So as you can see, we completed his right side. Now we're gonna go over to his left and trim that down as well. And we're just moving back nice and consistent with each section that we grab coming towards the back of his head, because a lot of times when people trim like this and just start in the front and go back, they grab too much hair at once, and then when it's all relaxed and it bounces back, you can see a lot of choppiness. So you want to make sure you take nice and clean sections. And then here I'm kind of freehanding his curls, making sure it has a nice shape, so that way when it's styled and shrunken up, because the curls do shrink up once they're styled, that they sit evenly. So now we're gonna get into the taper. So this is the most difficult side of his head, and I didn't know that, but thankfully I started here, so we knocked the hardest part out the way first. But we're just debulking this area with our 2-guard lever open, so we have a nice clean canvas to work with. So this client here, it was my first time cutting his hair, so I was being a little more reserved, not moving as quickly as I do with my normal clients. But one thing I will say before we get into this taper is I would have established this bald line a lot lower, now knowing exactly how his hair grows. And as a barber, that's something you just have to be honest with yourself. You're not going to be perfect, right? You're a human being, so you're not going to hit out of the park every single haircut. But the goal is to always give them a haircut that's good, quote unquote, enough, right? So they come back. But your goal should be that when they come back, you absolutely nail it, right? Because the first time you cut their hair, you're learning it, you're kind of figuring out how their hair grows, how it lays. So and then once you have that figured out, the next time they come in, you can nail it and exceed their expectations, right? And it should only get better from there. So that was my point in telling you that I would have established this bald line a lot lower. I think it would just fit the side of his head a lot better. But nonetheless, this taper is going to come out very clean. So I established my bald line, and now we're going to come in with the lever all the way open, and we're going up about a 1/4 inch, and then we'll go ahead and close that lever all the way and tap at that line. And then as we move up within this guideline, you'll see me open up that lever notch by notch. And as you can see, I'm using the new Wall Vapors. Super dope clippers. They cut really close and really fast. They're powerful, so they cut through a lot of hair with ease. But now we're gonna grab our one guard with the lever open, and we're gonna go right above this guideline as well. But you guys can already kind of see what I'm saying with this taper. We're already pretty high with this taper, right? And at this point of the haircut, I realized what I did, and I knew what I needed to do to finesse it and get it back to looking how I wanted it to look. But that's what I'm saying. I would have rather had this taper just be a little bit lower to keep the sides, a little fuller. And now we're coming in with the 2-guard lever open, and we're gonna come in and scoop out. Try not to create a harsh guideline at the top of this taper. And now that I realized that I took the taper, slightly higher than it should have been, I don't want to go above this 2-guard open. I want to blend down from this point and then try my best to keep the top of that taper dark. So that way when we go ahead and line up everything, really pops. And now we're going to drop down to our 1.5 with the lever closed. And while I'm really utilizing the corner of my blade because I do not want to create another harsh guideline. I want this to blend as clean and as seamlessly as possible. So using the corners of the blade allows it just to blend a little better and be more focused and precise with each pass of the guards. And now after we went through our guards, what I'm going to do is come in with some clipper over comb to try to transition into the length on the sides a little better. So I'm going to come in with my comb and flare out slightly, and then anything sticking out I'm going to go ahead and get rid of with my clipper. I like to do clipper over comb as opposed to using, the big guards step by step, just because I feel like I could be a little more controlled and leave weight exactly where I need it. And once I do the clipper over comb, it's going to make the taper look a whole lot better. And now I drop down to a finer tooth comb where the teeth aren't as wide, just to be a little more focused and detailed. We're doing the clipper over comb. And now we're going to move over to the other side. So what I like to do is get through my steps as quickly as possible. And then, the last 15 to 10 minutes of the haircut, I like to detail. And that's what's really going to set it apart. So if you can get through your system or the steps of your haircut, efficiently, and get them good enough, and then line everything up, get it styled, and then come back in detail, I find that to be the most effective way, to give out consistent quality haircuts. Because if you try to detail while you'll do the haircut, I feel, you risk the chance of spending too much time in one area without taking into account all the rest you need to get done. So that's why it's kind of like you go through, you do the rough draft, you finish it up, and then you come back and you look for any minor mistakes. And a lot of times the things that you would consider mistakes mid-haircut, once everything is finished, aren't mistakes, right? They didn't affect the quality of the haircut in any way. So try to get through your steps as quickly and as efficiently as you can, and then save the detailing, as much as possible for the ends. But now we're following the same exact steps when doing the taper on this left side. So we started off with the bald line, then we'll go open, 1 open, 2 guard, and blend down. But if you guys are enjoying this tutorial so far, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think thus far. And now we're just getting rid of the line in between the bald and the lever open. But you guys keep hearing me talking about system and your process of cutting hair and trying to get through it as quickly as you can. But what do I mean by system? So I have an online training program where I teach barbers my exact system of cutting to give out consistent quality in an efficient manner so you can make the most money as a barber. So if that is something you're interested in, you can go to the link in my description and tap on Dreclipperhands Academy and enroll today. So the course consists of modules where I teach you, my system of cutting hair, so that way you can get haircuts at a high quality. And then as well, I teach you how to build clientele and market yourself as a barber to put yourself in a position to make the most money. And you're also thrown into a community of barbers that are like-minded and inspired to take this barbering industry to a whole nother level, because I'm a huge advocate for barbering, because barbering has changed my life and it's gave me a lot of opportunity that I would have never thought possible. So for any barber who's watching this video, enroll in Dreclipperhands Academy and let's get you to that next level. Link in the description. But now we're using our 1.5 with the lever closed, and we're continuing to blend down, trying to get this taper as clean as possible. And one thing I've been thinking about lately, especially nowadays, right, with social media and seeing all that's out there and a lot of opportunities, it can be really hard to not jump on every little thing, that quote unquote says will make you money. But I'm a firm believer that keeping the main thing is the most beneficial, because what I notice is barbers start with the intention of not cutting hair forever right away, and I get kind of frustrated with that, because when I first started cutting hair, I thought I was just gonna cut hair. You know what I'm saying? That was my focus, that was my determination, was to cut hair and make the most money out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I found out very quickly that how much money you can make as a barber. And when you realize that, right, when you're able to realize, if I lock in and really treat this barbering as a business that I can scale, there's no reason to jump into another industry. You know what I'm saying? I believe barbering can provide you with the lifestyle and opportunities that you desire if you just give it the time of day, right? And you guys hear me say all the time, you can use barbering as, a stepping stone to get to where you really want to be. But realistically, barbering can be the main thing, and from that barbering thing you can do so many other things, but you don't have to leave barbering behind, right? I think a lot of times people think they just can't get the lifestyle that they want from barbering, but you can. I know barbers that make 200k, 250k, even 300k. I've seen barbers make and still have a great balanced life where they're able to spend time with family. But I believe as a barber, you just need to know that, right? I've been exposed to that, so I know it's possible. So for any young barber, right, if you are seeing barbering and you're automatically thinking of a way to get out of barbering so you can make more money, you don't have to. You can make the money you want to make and live the lifestyle you want to live if you keep barbering first, right? And once you get to a level of barbering where you feel you kind of maxed out on your potential, which it takes a lot of work to get there, then you can look into other investments and other things to give you the exact dream lifestyle that you want. But first, you have to treat barbering with respect. You have to give it the time it deserves, right? The diligence to be a master at your craft, give out an excellent service to your clients, build that clientele. It takes time. You can't do barbering for 5 years and just expect to be a prodigy or be at the pinnacle of success as a barber. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, don't be so focused on getting out of the barber industry so quickly. Give it the time that it deserves, and I guarantee if you give it the time, you can really make that money and achieve that lifestyle that you want. You don't need nothing else. But now we're coming in with our 2 guard with the lever open, above that 1 open, and we're coming in and scooping out. Again, this will be the biggest guard that we use. And don't get what I say messed up a minute ago, right? If you want to pivot into real estate or do a different endeavor from barbering, that's fine, right? But don't do it because you think barbering can't get you there, because it can, right? But it just takes that time and it takes that focus. But like I said, if you want to pivot to something else, there's nothing wrong with that. I just see a lot of barbers doing it in a very misguided manner to say, right? Because they just don't know. So I'm here to try to let you know what's possible through barbering, the lifestyle that is possible through barbering without anything else, without any social media following, without monetizing any content. I'm talking about just from cutting hair. You can make 100, 150, 200K, 250K behind the chair as a barber without doing anything else. I'm telling you, it's possible. I know barbers who do it. I do it. So again, don't think you need something else. That's the only reason I said what I said. But if you really want to pivot to something else, feel free, because that is the beauty of this industry as well. It can put you in a position to do other passions and other things. But just give the barbering the respect it deserves. You know what I'm saying? That's all I say. That's all I say. And now we're doing some clipper over comb behind the ear to go ahead and debulk that so we can catch a nice line when we go ahead and line it up. And now when lining up the arch, you want to start at the top of the ear, being sure to not take this up too high, because what you don't want to do is give them what they call a white wall, right? Where it's like a big round circle above the ear that is obviously unnatural. You want to keep it as natural as you can. And then we're going to follow that line all the way down to the bottom of his neck or his nape area. And when you put the line on the back of the taper, it really makes it pop. It brings everything together and brings out any details and imperfections that you need to go back and clean up as well. And now we're going to go ahead and come to the other side to do the same thing. And I like to do this because a lot of barbers just leave the area behind the ear way too bulky to where the neckline doesn't come out sharp. It doesn't last. The client complains about the hair touching their ear. What you don't want to do is take off too much hair around the ear though, because then it's kind of like giving them, you know, a fade in a way, right? Because you're just taking it too short on the sides. So you want to lower right at the ear line, and that should give it that nice tapered look. And now we're going to line up his nape area on this side as well. And now let's get into the lineup. This is going to be a very natural lineup. There's not going to be any enhancements and any white pencil, none of that. We're just going to, you know, comb those little hairs in the front down so we can catch a nice line. And then we'll hit it with the razor. So we're going to start in the middle of his forehead and work towards the corners. And you guys can see, right, the lineup in the corner isn't super dense, but you'll be surprised when you line up those little light hairs how dark and how full it can actually look. So we went ahead and framed out his lineup, his vertical bar, and then we're gonna line up his arch area as well. And that taper is looking super nice from the profile view. But now we're gonna start at the top of the arch, and then we'll go to the bottom and connect those 2 points in the middle. And that's gonna give us the most natural looking arch without, you know, pushing or digging into it too much. And now we're going to come over to this other side and do the same thing. And remember, I had told you guys this side of the taper was the most difficult when we first started. Just being completely honest. But you'll see after we line it up and we put some minor details into this taper, it's going to look a whole lot better and a whole lot cleaner, right? It's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish. You feel me? So we're starting at the top of the arch, and then we'll go to the bottom and meet them in the middle, just like we did on the other side. And now we're gonna go ahead and recline our client. So we're gonna stretch the skin in the opposite direction of which you are using the razor, and that's gonna prevent any cuts and irritation. And then come against the grain with the razor to get rid of all that little stubble and really take this hairline to a whole nother level, because again, this is a natural haircut, no enhancements. Now we're coming to the other side to do the same exact thing. Step by step, brick by brick, we built out this haircut. My dude is a brand new man. And now what we're gonna do is go ahead and style it. So I went ahead and dampened the hair, and then I got some level 3 forming cream, and this is gonna bring some shine, some life into his curls and bring everything together. And now I went ahead and grabbed my diffuser. Now what the diffuser does is dry the hair without frizzing it up and blowing it everywhere, because this nozzle just distributes the heat, as opposed if I took it off, it would just kind of blow the hair in every direction and cause his curls to fro. But this is how my man came in looking, and this is how we left leaving. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you think he should have kept the curls, if you like it cut. But also hit that like and subscribe button. But like always, I will go ahead and catch y'all next time. And if you want to go more in depth, join Dreclipperhands Academy. Link in the description. Peace.